Ty vole, dámy a pánové, tohle je intro dnešního videa. Alešek proti Bonk, rankedovému mixu. Pokud prohraje Alešek, tak končí v lize, pravděpodobně končí i jeho stání v Z10 na světě, takže to se nesmí stát, takže tady o to, abychom fandili. Co to máme, by the way? Oni hrajou defaultní komp. Vy to máte vlastně nalevo, máte náš komp na Havenu a napravo máte Edrikovsů komp na Havenu. Haven byl už domácí, čeho Slík, čeho Kofero. Davar nálada vs 8-0 prohrát mapu. No ale to nevíš, Barte, pár dní tam napsalo, ale mě to dvakrát spadlo. Mně dvakrát se jen tak vypl komp. Mid hru. Kamošku, ale mnich mental. Fuj. Mental mnicha, kamo. Všechno jsem to jakoby setřásl. FPSky byly v pohodě, actually. Já jsem to dal do rušiny, tam. Dal jsem si nějaký tweaking. Actually, jak jsem zapínal ten... Tak to kdyby nedal kamo, tak podle mě, vole, už nechytnu stanu zpátky. Ukaž formu, jakou mají. Byl dobrý jak svině. Všichni byli dobrý jak svině. ALEXIIK na Iceboxu, kamaráde, insane. Nun na Havenu, vole, poslední kolo, totální strop. Hledal na špatné straně, protože prostě zvuky. Ale na onlineu bych to musel zahrát jinak, kámo. ALEXIIIK. Jo, ten stream byl 30 FPS, to je škoda, no. Ale tady ten stream je na 60 FPS. Ne, v pohodě. Alešku. Viděli jste, jak jsem ojebal Šajmona? Viděli jste, co jsem udělal Šajmonovi na lance? To jsem, kámo, asi pískal, vole. Šajmon, kamaráde, ze stresu zapomněl, že ten štít jde zničit. Jak říkám, že třeba do týdne bych toho chtěl udělat nějaký hezký videjko. Nějaký memorial videjko. Ne, to ne, jakože chápeš. Abych to měl prostě zaznamenaný zas. Včetně těch qualifierů, to nějak sešmykám, no. Memorial, ne. Mikyho rozhovor, by the way, nejhorší rozhovor, co jsem kdy viděl. To ještě zkoušel, že já půjdu na rozhovor, mu říkám, ne, kamaráde. To ty jsi mi se strašně daleko, viď? To je takových 14 hodin? 10. Jo, tak díky moc. Dámy a pánové, kapitán týmu Slovensko. Super, vole. Double kill ultinou, to chceš? Bez asistu. To se museli strašně line-upnout. A jeden umřel v garáži, chat, a druhý umřel v A-mainu, vedte se? Jo. Já jsem říkal Mikimu, on furt říká nějaký silný řeči, jak mu říkám, tak napiš musit, ne, napiš musit. Kamo, to neprohrajou 5v2, neprohrajou 5v2, že ne? Špatný plant. Co to je? Co to sleduju? Co to sleduju, ty vole? Nic, kámo, já potřebuji pokračovat na soud kopačky. Kdy týpek investuje Joru ultinu ve 2v40. Řekl jsem Mentolovi, ať si vezme ten billboard a dá si ho jako... Slíbil mi, že bude streamovat, když mu nechám ten billboard. Pak jsem mu ho vnutil. Bude ho mít pozadí webky, ten billboard výherní. Oh, nice. Týmu Slovensko. Byl totál lost. Těho Berry. Káva musí říct Mickey, protože to normálně jednou za život, kámo. Jo, pak se ptal Mickeyho, že co je nejlepší práce placená. Košicích. Myslím si, že Mickey je z Košic. Nevím, že programátor. Aha. A mimo počítače? No ne, nějaký jako... Nějaký řemeslník. Aha. Nebyl to Slovák, byl to Čech, ale povídal si o slovenské politice s ním. ALEXIIIK. Kámo, to je škoda. Já pak tam Mickey začal zvát po něm. Pak tam Mickey začal zvát prostě na celou ulici. Jo, tady máme Fica, tady máme... ALEXIIIK, nice forma. Tam ještě jedno. Cítím z Aleška, že si na něj nesáhl alespoň 3 dny. Cítím to z něj, tu energii. A normálně jsem se na to vzpomněl, vole, vyhajzli. Zapravili to první mapu. Kámo. Takže mezi první a druhou mapou jsem celou dobu, to si přišel by the way, to dělám každou lanku. Nevím, jestli to měl říkat, vole. Když jsem vyhrát 3 lanky za sebou. Ale většina, když dohrajou první mapu, tak do toho kompu vždycky pryč se projít. Nice, kámo, flawless. Jak to říct? No prostě, na to jsem jako hodně zvyklý, jo, za ty roky. Ale cítím, když hraju off-stream, že ta hra je prostě rychlejší, protože máš prostě OBS vytváří nějaký jeblej, prostě input delay nebo něco, kámo, prostě nefiluje ta hra tak crisp. Takže jakmile hraju off-stream, tak se mi hraje vždycky jakoby o trochu líp. Většinou, až na výjimky. Ne, bohužel. A to mám tweaknutý komp, jakoby ten input delay by měl být... Kde je Killjoy Molotov? Kde je Killjoy Molotov? Mám to klepnout, či podívat se, jestli nějak Killjoy Molotov? Double PC. Na piču se to nastavuje. Já myslel reveal. Kamaráde, tier 2 úroveň. Je tier 2 úroveň. Což tam je z té urbíkovali, kámo. Ne, my taky teda, vole. Jedno kolo na tom Bčku, jak jsme naběhli do backsiteu, vole. Bylo strašný, ale... Naštěstí nás to nestálo tolik kolo. Jedno kolo jsme hrali jak na moje bronz 2, kámo. To bylo skvělý, vole. A Killjoy ulti na poslední kolo. To bylo... Jsme celou dobu mluvili o tom, že máte Killjoy ultinu. A teď jsme stáli do mainu, kámo, s tímhle plentem, to bylo crazy work, kámo. Chtěli, že nám je voice comms. Protože přijde ALEXIIIK, měli scrimmy, že jo, a on by se nechtěl vrátit, a něčí dneska hrajou. On jezdí taky strašně daleko.
Now you're going to see what an experienced IGL can really call.
Yeah, and sort of like what those reads ended up being
once
Proti had the lay of the land.
Manzerunun kolovali věci. To bylo jako kolektivní takový. A tak mě znáš, na to nerad kecám, nemám rád, takže já jsem vždycky vám říkal, co můžu udělat, co máte vy a chlapi si z toho vždycky něco vybrali a bylo to dobrý.
You can't play one step behind in this situation. It was the undercut default. There was no shock thrown as far as what I can see.
To tam máš, kapibarka, za obrázek.
Still in the same position.
Můj shock dart nasypal, kámo.
Truly, although identifying the omen, let's let second player towards Sue.
Nice shot.
And yes, while he's moving himself in towards long, he's
easily je S-tier Sentinel Ascentu. Počkej, 1v1, počkej, ticho, ty Sentinele. Čas. Si Mississippi. Si Mississippi teďko. 3. Vidíš, že je červenej, ty idioté. Ty idioté. No tak tohle, on neviděl, že je červený, ale kámo. 17 proti BBL, myslím, ne? ALEXIIIK open.
Lost in the sight hold, now doubling up for the flank.
Je jaký flank rychlej.
Stronger minute by minute. Vandal in his hands.
Týpek je taky na lance? No to má se zvukama.
Headlights here and completely shut down by BONK.
SSOS.
Into the retake.
SSOS.
Gramek playing from hell, and he has nowhere to go. So it's 3 for 3 on the defender's side.
Vydáš nějaký nerd video? No přemýšlím, jak pojmu bezpečný, kámo, mluvit. Čau, Vojta. Gatekeepování informací, kámo. Alešek, vole, strategie, něco na tom je. Čau, Maraváčos. Barte, on říkal ten týpek actually, že jo? Při tom rozhovoru říkal, že bude. Já to nejsem. Kámo, myslím ta ultina? Jak si je to povede jako? ALEXIIIK! Pojď! Je škoda, že tam byly ty boxíky. O to dalo na ty pytle, viděli jste to? Ty full to, ty mentol, co viděl? Dobrý čupísek. Vyraný jako je dobrý. Ale jako... Enrikos, bylo to... Bylo to o dost těžší, než jsem si vizualizoval, volem. Talanka, nebudu lhát. Že jako... Jsem byl na emočním rollercoasteru, tohle kole dám.
Could help cut back across for ALEXIIIK, stepping around the side of his cage, but Gramek has him caught. Blades out for ALEXIIIK, trying to be the hero once more. The Bucky letting off shot after shot, but caught in the back of sight. Waddles has wedged himself in between multiple players, and as ALEXIIIK
Dobrý popin. Gramek je back.
3 big kills, and Pyro following it up. Kairu still with a chance.
Má aftershock. Aftershock na bombíska. Nice, dobrý double pick. Jakoby nikdy neagrolurkne na tom Iceboxu. Já jsem vždycky jako prostě to koukal ještě, vole, dalších půl minuty jsem to koukal ten flank a vždycky potom za váma regrupl, vole, v každý 3v3 šel do Ačka za váma nebo tak. Kdy potom už prostě jsme to jakoby overrotili třeba, vole, na to, že věděli, že nebude lurkovat, no. Na Havenu přemýšlím, ty vole. Ty pičo, to si říkal, kamo, co to je.
With all of that C setup, Zero Tenacity have not elected to
mám nakoukané.
Expand upon those ambitions and take this space, but now
nemohl vědět, kamo. Já jsem hrál s ALEXIIIKem, kámo, jsem nikdy nehrál s ALEXIIIKem. A pak už tam hrál se mnou, no, z začátku tam nehrál se mnou. Pak už tam byl se mnou, ale to už jste chodili Cčko na Mikyho, no. Mě by zajímalo, jestli jste si řekli, že stratu, že najdete Mikyho, půjdete do něj, protože to tak vypadalo, vole, na tom Molotosu. To kde byl, tam jste šli a tam dostal entry.
Allowed the first ping to go off and they know exactly where Proti is. 50 points of health, having to clutch up is a tough ask.
A ten Odin ve stromě, kámo, nebyl moc dobrý ten move na lance. Protože jako měl jsem v pohodě zvuky, ale byly jako furt třeba 50% horší než doma. Plus ještě komps turnový a jsem neslyšel vůbec kroky do piči. Já to hraju na jako z části na kroky, že jo. Takže ten Odin nebyl moc efektivní, vole, bych si tam.
Karu maybe choosing to use the Yoru ult here in the retake.
Pojď, prdi.
Oh no, the dart's not hit right.
It's KG.
5 HP, prdi. 5 HP, prdi. Pojď, aim laby, vole.
Karu still yet to invest any utility.
2 náboje.
Proti to his own devices, final bullet, Proti.
Má dron.
And suddenly it's game on.
To je dobrý play, stůj. Ani se nehní s tím vypem. Nehejbej se, kurva!
But the question is which angle does Insane. Pick the right one?
A furt na to tam si stěžoval Mental, ale Mental to měl druhou mapu. Nunovi jsem to pak nastavil to, nebo on to fix sám actually, já jsem jenom nastavil nějaký pluginy tam. A Easyko takhle hrál normálně to. Normálně se slyšeli? To jste se zapojovali sami, nebo vám to zapojovali ty týpci do toho monitoru? Nice, chlapi.
Waddle's in the middle's only got a judge as well, so the round is done. It's a flawless round for Zero Tenacity.
Já mu říkám, právě proto, jestli totálně na bottom bez napsat si.
Guardians into another
ne. Na druhé mapě, ne. Ale třetí mapě mu říkám, ať napíše si. A on začal vypisovat každý kolo slovky, každý. Clutch proti Víkovi, já van zeru, Vík prohraje a napíše NTV Vík. Nebo, co tam děláš? Dobrý flank. Ne, kámo, štíteček, vole. Ten čas a by the way má Kovac Crosser. Ten červený plusko je Kovac Crosser. A já budu členko. Počkej, čas? Čas? A nemá čas podle mě. Proč nedal půlku někdo? Má čas. Píče, sorry. Papa. On se chytil, vole. To je crazy, kámo, že šok do té trapy, jasně se chytne, vole. Nevím, kámo, jestli tohle se tím může stát jako profesionálnímu hráči, to podle mě je shit.
Grumek has his ult yet again, except this time, playing from the corner of long, he can actually set up ALEXIIIK to take fights off the back of this.
Nice, ALEXIIIK zachraňuje. Co má za cross, kámo? Funkční cross. Ačko na retake. Nejhorší strata na světě, let's go. Moc se mi to nelíbilo, uvidíme, jestli navaří lépe teďko. Ať spechtí mošta. Spechtijte MSH. Kde je MSH?
Brilliant rollout from ALEXIIIK as well. Finds himself in rafters, picks off the backside player. Spike dropped on the ground, but can be
MSH kouká záda, když má turetu, kámo.
Into post, it's just one nano. Chaza has a full.
Já jsem na chvilku vypnula, jo, ale stejně.
Double tap as well being used, being decayed ever so slightly. ALEXIIIK being seen. He's taking a bolt.
Most, první kill. Má tečku. OK. Ale to mě možná i předtím, ne? Nice, Firo.
They'll be stung. Pistol round, Zero Tenacity's way. But I mean, you need more than just that, or else people will be able to swing round the other side.
Dneska bude Survivor. To jak může takhle vypnout a pak dát tohle? Dneska... Starý kozlové ještě koušou, vole. Starý kozlové ještě koušou.
I've put this round on their shoulders.
They have a terrible two that have been together for the longest time. And while Chaza, he's trying to use all his utility to get this one over the line.
Na piču plant, kámo. Aftershock. Aftershock.
And this is where you just play for the aftershock, but Chaza's already got it halved. So Grumek's got to flash himself back in and the blinds landed behind his head. Chaza hanging on.
Kamo, týpci hrajou od bety, skoro aj spolu od bety. A byl to bonus chat, takže jakoby to kolo bolí míň, no. Alešku, a piči dron.
They're starting to go clearing solo waddles, that's risky, but it pays off.
Yeah, ALEXIIIK didn't think anyone on Bonk's side would go and do that, and that's the other thing, right? Like we see.
Leda, že byste někdo uměl, jsme volili na mém Discordu, kdybyste někdo uměl vytáhnout pár dní dozadu, jakoby logs nějaký, Discord callu z mýho serveru, když ten server vlastním, Tady měl i komp. Ale já to neumím. Jako teoreticky nějaký ajťák by co mohl umět. Ano, za ChatGPT mu, tak počkej. Nice.
Not held on to all too firmly. Chaza also, I mean, committed for rafters, but nobody peeks him, so he's still got this space. Pyrol finally taking the peak, and now Waddles has arrived on the fray as well. Rolling Thunder to try and clap back, and actually, both of those defenders will just surf around the corner and get out of harm's way. ALEXIIIK trying to walk it in, but instead met with attrition.
Now Pyrol has to step up to the
plate. Luky to chytal strašně kilos. Luky byl ten Joru. Jako tolik příjemných jmen ke slově Luky jsem nikdy neslyšel. To je škoda. Jsem myslel, že to je můj server, tak by to teoreticky mohlo být v tom serveru někde ještě zaznamenaný třeba pár dní. Bych to mohl nějak vytáhnout. Píšu, tam nejsou žádné data, když to je můj vlastní server.
And of this team taking matters in their own hands. That was a lovely combo. It was just the stun and the dash in to try and punish the drone, but yeah, Pretty looking to find space on the other end of the map has gone punished, and now it's a slow creep into an outlaw, which Zero Tenacity find themselves in.
Ani Discord se potom může poskytnout.
Within that one shot range as well. Has a Karu though has gone elsewhere. It's up to the Viper.
Zkus to přehrát, mi nabídl. Fuj. Pokud máš gameplay záznam, přehraj si ho a zpětně dodělej komentář / reakci. Lidi ocení i voice over ve stylu, který jsme si řekli, že jdeme na retakeu. Do retakeu.
Rifle in Pyro's hands, but remember it's all about those health bars and they're not looking so good at the minute. ALEXIIIK tried to take a fight with just a sheriff and
Duit, jako chtěl jsem, no, na to udělat jako komentovaný to grand finále pár kol asi, no, nebo něco. Já jsem chtěl udělat sestřih i z toho qualifieru, chat.
Trying to delay, yeah, you can't help but favor BONK in that scenario.
On the drone there looked really nice, but ALEXIIIK kind of realized that he would have been overwhelmed if he pushed back sight and there was support there.
Nevěděl nikdy budeme volat, no.
Have a set of priorities and how they want to play this.
Cisáku.
Next round 5 ults. The only one of Zero Tenacity's own.
To jste vyhráli minulý rok s minim monstrem a play zone. Play zone a tohle jsem vyhrál ještě pod Enterprise s Enrikem, Shoutym, Paťou a Lukem. Já, Enrik, Paťa, Shouty, Lukem. To bude ta play zone? To nevím. To znamená nic není.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. If you jump in behind it, there's always a threat. And there you go. ALEXIIIK lightning fast as he uses the light
mastodont
speed
prostě, můj malý mastodont.
Not a single player hindered, so the fallback is supported, and with Chaza already finding 3 kills from the off.
Lurk.
Pyrol the only one that is left. It's the Viper.
Já vám vlastně zpětně můžu nahodit vodko konečně.
BONK adding to their advantage. And this Waylay feeling like a bit of a non-starter.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, there's some
počkej, ale má názor. Má názor ještě.
But nothing concrete. And Pyrol has to be that foundation from which the concrete
je lepší názor.
And unfortunately, Chaz has got 4 with that operator.
O tom se bavili tam na nějakým tom castu Tier 1, že nějaký komentátor nebo komentátorka musela se jakoby odučit ten přízvuk, no. To týpek by měl hodně na tom podle mě pracovat, pokud chce být jakoby full-time komentátor. Pro mě bys měl mít jakoby clean angličtinu, která je nejvíc common. Týpek jako rodilý mluvčí, ale má prostě přízvuk, ty vole, který je fakt těžký jako rozumět.
Doesn't look like Corsa is in for any more here, but as players start to arrive on his doorstep, the job has to be taken into Corsa's own hands for the rest of BONK. 10 seconds for the plant to now come in, and there are already Karu out on rafters, dropping into
17 si nechává.
And with that MSH, the last one left. Both Nanos alarm bot, but back behind this wall of smoke.
Co je?
The toxins there.
Co je?
Supporting ALEXIIIK, BONK can restore the advantage. A Zero Tenacity put in a position of power.
Destroy the KG turret and set Chaz up for a deep lane.
One of the most recent patches we ever saw to Reina was the adjustment.
Jakom jsou nahrávaný a ten druhý tým si je může vyžádat. To se je za smoke.
Kind of fighting solo here and stunned out of play. He'll
jenom je dívá novej, podle mě, ne?
Cover again, but there's no one on Zero Tenacity really that can
dig
out that space. They're at the beck and call of where BONK currently stand.
ALEXIIIK
posted up with rifles in hand.
Brech ult.
I mean, that's a few pieces now being shoved forward. The space not taken. Pyro gets the entry. ALEXIIIK another.
Yeah. And now there's a safety net as well. MSH does
ALEXIIIK hezky takeuje space, kámo.
If you're BONK, the less chance you're going to get to challenge that. It's 3 kills from ALEXIIIK. And Shaza looking
s ALEXkem je zábava hrát, kámo. Nemá na klávesnici skoro tlačítko S.
I think as well that you've got to look at the economy, how that looks for both teams. It's not looking too hot for BONK in the next round, and that's why Zero Tenacity are now starting to hunt a little bit.
Vlastně furt běhá dopředu se vším, kámo. Proto nemůže hrát nic jiného než dualisty, kámo. On zkusí piknout, kámo, omena nebo killžiku, tak stejně prostě furt drží do dvojitýve.
Now with the lockdown as well, as I mentioned, and with Chazza spotted, he's running into trouble. Pyro finishing off the round with an elimination. Final round of the attack here, you're going towards B, and I would like to see them use this Waylay ult to take the site control itself, because they've been without that, and they've really
Já jsem se o tom bavil, Patě, no, že Huty nemá na křivo krk, nemá nic, Huty nemá nic s krkem, ale Huty má prostě oči, vole, condition.
I mean, this is just going to be carnage ensuing. One of these
rounds where
Kadrill's name gets mentioned, and well, Pyro is one to drop. He had a Viper's pit.
Yeah, that doesn't look like it's going to be too crazy of a round, because ALEXIIIK is here and in control. Towards the snow pile now, sidestep of Chazza. He brings a player out of the action, but still ALEXIIIK is on the warpath, walking forwards.
Ukaž tu killjoy, vole, ALEXIIIK má formu jak svině.
ALEXIIIK making all the moves, and with Corsa the last player left, it's a refract 360 flick. And so much time bought in the process.
Už má jiný cross.
Zero Tenacity in this 2 versus 1, set up to tie the half.
Not only that, KG
koupil čas, ALEXIIIK.
and another nano in pocket.
Hezky hraje killjoy.
It's all coming out the works for Zero Tenacity. The attack side has battled back.
Yeah, it's deja vu, although towards mid, a pistol round goes the way of BONK so far with that entry pick.
With it being Grumek lost, the stun, a tool to just slow down the pace. It's BONK walking their way.
Kubo musí odehrát ještě jednu hru, abys dostal to jelo zpátky. Vysvětloval jsem to na Instagram ve videu.
Starting to look towards middle. Zero Tenacity all the while isolated in terms of player numbers.
I mean, you've now got MSH starting to cover mid as
well.
To cover that, kitchen look.
It's a very wide jump peak from Pyro. The drone hadn't quite cleared his position just yet, so support has arrived. Zero Tenacity have bodies in red and black on the site ready to defend this.
Oh, the timing.
Yeah, is walking into kitchen. He's gonna hear all of the steps. I mean, the info goes both ways. There's a backstab prepared, as Zero Tenacity themselves know that B is not the intended target, or at least for now, as the rotation is working its way back. Karu's found 3 kills from this position. The veil is dropped, and Pyro the next. MSH last player left, and it is a very well played pistol from the attacking team.
Agreed. I mean, what's the turret realistically going to do, right? Now you've just got to hit 4 heads cleanly for MSH. and won't even get one. Yeah, really well played.
From this position, so ALEXIIIK is fully committed. 10 toes down. First kill picked up. Gramek still hanging around. Uses the poison clouds to get back to the safety of the site. But MSH is moving forwards, as is Vašek, out on A. Kill picked up onto Proti, and Pyro can't trade it out either. Movement top site, brilliant reposition. Vašek completely opening the round for the rest of BONK. They'll head for A, while there have been trades. It's 2-on-2, and look how deep
děkuji za 29 měsíců, ty mago.
And he's won by himself. Lovely stuff.
Often relies on set plays. But right now, that is literally just ALEXIIIK making a slow creep down garage as the rest of Zero Tenacity can support this A hold, which quite simply has to hold because BONK are starting to close in on their opponent's map pick, and as the distance between them does sure up, it's Waddles with the trade-off of Gramek and the mid-duel, everything, MSH winning it. Zero Tenacity with numbers for the first time in a long time.
Nemyslím si, že to je mini, kámo. Kdyby to clearnul, nebo rychleji zareagoval. Movementem, kámo, jako uběhl, jak dělá mož, to mož dělá, kámo, to ten... Nevím, kámo, kde to může být. A ten mož dělá tohle ty swingy, no ono už je zpátky.
BONK are going back to square one, it looks like. And ALEXIIIK
jako mi nebude chlebotum by nedropl, kámo, po skrimech, vole, záporný KD, no, to jsem si jistý,
You have to, right? Don't want to give away individual picks. We've seen this before. ALEXIIIK slowly being pulled over as the steps being heard.
Careful here.
And that's for the attack. They've only really got 2 shocks to work with.
To by to netrounout, kámo. Takže hodně rád bych viděl disciplinovaně zahrnout 3v2 s tradeama. Kámo.
Scurrying are the steps as he walks closer towards the jail. Corsa to the side, he finds the first, and it's Chazza in his way.
Hit, ty vole, na piču plant a jedna hit.
And between the two players, he has to be the one that saves BONK in this round, bails them out, but it's Pyro.
To by ani neviděl, ne? Tam kam lezl ten ISO.
To the Zero Tenacity fire.
Nesmí Viperu, musíte si Viperu brzo tak to rolí.
Waddles not getting caught by it, managing to keep himself safe for now. And this is where the toxins play a huge factor.
Viper je první, co může umřít, kámo, může žít. Potřebujeme volu. On spadl. Já se poseru.
And MSH forced to leave the scene as 12 taken. Tools to delay, but really, ALEXIIIK has to be the shining star of this squad.
ALEXIIIK.
If anything is to really get going. V-long control slowly taken away. The one thing that Zero Tenacity do have is tools to delay. Snakebite, Aftershock, and the Nano in the hands of MSH. All of those in close proximity.
Dobrý kilosák, nemají Viper volu, musí fightit do deepu. Imo.
There's no safe passage to the site here.
There isn't. I mean, Spike trying to go down, but nobody's really taking the fight.
Yeah, nobody's denied it. There were 3 players that could have.
ALEXIIIK v editu.
Able to.
Most, počkej na ten stun do.
Walking out top of site. Well, Pyro has the lineup to come back into the retake. What is left of Zero Tenacity now?
GG.
4 versus 3 situation. Yellow control.
Has
been reprised. As you mentioned, Chazza walking up the guts late.
Gramek.
Zero Tenacity can find these fights, but
Chazza is the one
that could save the round in its entirety. Now they know. Gramek holding. If Chazza takes him off the diffuse here, he's won the whole map himself, and there you have it. A clutch from Chazza, 39. We move on to our decider.
We do, Hazard. Do you know the funny thing? Before we came into this map, I said for a joke.
By the fault line off the contact. With Pyro and Proti already pretty far up on the A side.
Composition.
Of course, looks to be playing for a retake here. They have the quick rotation as B seems to be clear.
Nice entry od Prediho. Kompoziční z double duelist Astra. To kompozičně určitě o dost hezčí za na City, no. Simu? Jakou Simu? Ty pak chceš, Bobby?
Not quite bringing the kind of pace to the retake that you would expect from them, and they
are
punished.
Díky tomu štítu. Aftershock.
Yeah, he's lucky to survive as long as he has,
Yep.
but a judge,
Yep.
a little bit of a rogue buy by Corsa, and walks straight into Pyro's Sheriff. The buy, a rogue from both sides, but somehow we go even.
Z10 have so much control now, and ALEXIIK's timing is everything. He's gonna catch Jasiek, doesn't expect Chaza, still on the angle with the Guardian, fake out, not anything at all. But ALEXIIK is able to follow up off his flash. So 4v2 situation, ALEXIIK still on the hunt. It seems like even after the last map, it's Z10 that keep the confidence.
Yeah, and that's what you
really have all too much to offer. Karu with the Vandal. Well, look at this. They're starting to fight some of the space early. It was B main they were looking at. ALEXIIK has immediately taken it away.
Yeah,
jeden hero Vandal
plus. The fact that you've got so many pieces of utility, which you can go and clear space out with, is so nice. The combinations don't quite get what they were looking for though. And you thought that they possibly could have.
Strašná videohra tohle fakt.
Was managed to find himself a little pocket to work with, all the way up round bend, but nobody's going to peek him.
Yeah, he's on the C site. ALEXIIK spotted 4 players on the way in, so Z10 know the defenders are stocked up here. They're looking to try and brawl them, but Karu takes the fight back. The only Vandal in this squad has come up with 2 big kills, and the
Jasně, že po pauze se zase projebe.
That's BONK finding their
Jasně, setup tohle.
No,
Ačko full retake. Tohle ani na rankeru mi ty psy neudělali, co to je.
BONK playing retake.
Nemá ani s čím retakeovat, to je tak sračko jední setup, co mají ty BONK. Nice, on ho neviděl, nice, kam on ho neviděl. Můžeš Dexy. Máš turnajový klienty, kde jsou všechny skiny. A přívešky. ALEXIIK plentí jak pán. Prdi. Prdi. Prdi! Ultimátní. Co to je za setup zase od těch BONK? Taková co mají tu tahou ultinu, ale Ačko full retake, to se úplně spoukal, ne? Jako 5v4 s tahou ultinou Evena byla, ale jako nechtěl bych to hrát. Evorator nejspíš ne, ALEXIIK taky nepojede.
Pyro boosted with the op in his hands.
Ultinka k prdu. ALEXIIKu aspoň jednoho, no. Ale proč se neotočí? Já mám nerví do píč.
When you know that they have some pretty strong combos with the ISO and the rest of the utility damage, with the Astra as well, the only area of the map you can really consistently fight for at the start of the round is A. So if you put the pressure on to Z10 and force them to react elsewhere, then that's how you get them to go into your setup. So B main control again, looking to be important as Z10 have a real mix of weaponry here. One of them is a Bucky on ALEXIIK. He's fully committed out of the
dobrý movement ALEXIIKu, ale
just one kill that he ends up with.
A se zase stunu hrál by the way, podruhý hrál ve stunu ten týpek. To je jak unlucky, ale už.
All players playing from main. MSH has a steel garden to go back in on. Cosmic Divide is a serious problem though. Pyro's on the other side. And Chaza just farming them up with the Phantom.
No to je low buy, I guess, ale investoval Euro ultinu už. Týpek hraje se špuntama. Alešek zase vlezl na tu krabici, tak mi ukáž. Chudák prdi, vole. Proč nikdo neskouší tu moji fintu? Jako by vyšla ta finta, on byl v openu, vole.
Util dump towards Bend, but still more stopping power left and available.
Moji? Už jsem si ji podepsal, kámo, sorry. Nevím, komu jsem ji ukradl, ale už jsem si ji podepsal. Nice, Grmek jísta. Nice. Normandy, nevíš, kterou myslím? OK, kámo. Leviathan.
BONK given this space for one of the first times. What can they do with it?
That is the question. At the same time, though, I mean, you're still waiting on BONK coming back in.
Co se děje? Nevidím nic.
This is the key point, which Zero Tenacity can do at every point. Double tap being used, and soon to run out as well as the smokes to pause it, and yeah, trying to get back into.
Nevidím nic, ale Alexi zabil 2, takže je asi zatím dobrý. Tohle už není tak dobrý. Jestli jste mysnutý nebavím, nebo to chtěl hodit schválně ten smoke. Ale actually ten smoke docela pomohl, ale že spadl. Ukážu vám fintu. Potřeboval jsem to.
Less well supported.
Yeah, well, like there was a fake and then a rotation. This time they're literally just here. It's just Corsa by himself. He gets one. He's not playing off his setup, and so he's dead.
Yeah, MSH though under siege needs to stand up and be counted. Pass pack doesn't get to go off. Waddles does though, and so does Karu. Is now we're in a 2 versus 4. Zero Tenacity feels as if they're being forced forward to fight this. And yes, just trying to get in, which he does so successfully.
But only for a moment. Grimek
should know where he is. Nemá timing, ono kouká.
Overlooks it for a moment, gets into waterfall. So far ahead of the curve and has to be, because the flank is closing in. Karu with the kill that puts Grimek in a 1 versus 3. Penultimate round of the half. We see the annihilation invested in that kill. Grimek still has the salvos. Buys a little more time for himself, and with the ultimate to use, he has to win this duel to Karu. But goes searching instead with time against him. Yeah. Zero Tenacity actually now looking to the middle of the map again. It just feels like
zajímavý play s težem. Takhle mě nenapadlo někdy hrát s težem.
Looking to clear Hobbit has done exactly that, but there's no one here to follow it up. It is literally just ALEXIIIK into spawn. He has the TP to bail out onto the B side. But he's full centered onto A.
Jo, pozor, Alešku.
The map's an interesting read.
And now Karu's in the middle of this.
Ne, prosím, klidně do toho. Absolutní borec. Ty volně, ty vole, do prdele.
Now with 3 on the round. And 2 players left on BONK to try and stop Zero Tenacity getting an advantage into the next time.
ALEXIIIK, yeah.
It will be 7-5 as we move into the second.
Nasty in pursuit of a top 4 spot, and BONK just about hanging in there against some of the region's best. The pistol starting off with a duel in the middle of the map again, and Chaza is the first to draw blood.
Karu though, coming in to go and get some more. I just saw a glimpse of Grimek's shoulder.
I think it's important here that BONK are diligent in dealing with that Vice utility as well, and not going for the same kind of quick execs that we saw Zero Tenacity.
Kamo, Hans, vole, to není normální Hans, ne tady z chatu. Jako zaspamoval celý Discord nějakou píčovinou. Nějakou skem píčovinou teďko. A to mám dva antiboty na to. Jak to jako projde skrz ty boty? Do píči. Sorry, tady vysekovali upozornění. Má stále termu, vole, to je.
Oh, here it comes. It cuts right across. Pyro
Já
with
jsem mu
huge value.
Je to safe, jo.
As you say, MSH
To se
is
nebojím.
taking the scenic route. There's not time for that because the only route that BONK are taking, sorry, is giving Zero Tenacity the boot.
Já mám dva boty na to nastavený, aby to mazali, kurva. Kde je komentář? Nice shot. Nemáme dneska komentář.
Player advantage, Zero Tenacity. Not quite in post yet.
Dejcha jenom.
Looking to move towards Waterfall and, well, potentially the C site here as well, but that's where we have Pyro. A deep deposit.
Tomu druhému to padlo asi. Kámo.
Karu trying to cut across the line, but Pyrol's done his job.
Pyrol.
Paranoia around the
Nice
side.
Pyrol.
Next kill onto Chazza. No time to plant the spike anymore. It's Pyrol
Nice Pyrol.
doing it all from the
Co dál,
bend.
kámo, ten Karu zase. To jsou dobrý
One
facky
by
tohle,
one
ale
they fall.
ní ten billboard, takže je to prostě... Je to prostě kus.
The material on C. The flash for ALEXIIIK to fight. And fight he will. Just the one that he wins though, and overstays his welcome.
Jenom jednoho.
Well, it truly overstays. With that being said, though, right, the loss of
jako množný číslo, má kámoše. Jako má celebrita byl na den. Absolutní, jsou typci fotili prostě na ulici, kámo, já si pískal.
Zero Tenacity can threaten this position.
I mean, Karu just goes straight out into the razor vines on B. And that's the site which
BONK are going to be finishing on. To kam strava ve vlaku jako. To kde jsi měl.
Threaten the possibility of a backstab through the revolving door.
Nice shot.
Karu hunting this waterfall kill again, but facing the dirt.
Jako můžu si to vám čet říct, že ten že ta killjoy na Iceboxu nebyl MSH. Vidím ten movement, aim i crosser, takže to prostě je někdo jiný, kámo, to byl někdo jiný. Kámo. Kámo. Měl kupečko pro sebe. Smoke.
You're probably thinking that Pyro might try and call it quits here. He is. Doesn't want anything to do with it. And we go all even once more.
No, když ALEXIIIK prohraje, tak další oficiál má jakože playoff, ale come on. Na sebe takovým týmům, kde jako... Dobrý open.
Yeah, he's forcing the players back. I mean, this ISO wall creates a question mark behind Drubble.
Každý kolo open,
ti říkám. But Zero Tenacity aren't really interested, right?
Nebo na něm open, no. Nice shot, kámo, ten je v zóně jak svině, vole. Ten je v zóně.
Shepherding them ever further, BONK, towards the C site. That's where MSH is waiting.
Fuš, oni jsou Angličani, oni hrajou Londýny, já týpky nepoznávám. Já znám jenom MUSÍ a Karu a to jsou prostě jako botlajzníci. To jsou radianti, ale nerespektuje. A teď z Brýtři jsem nikdy nepotkal.
He's going to be able to go for a quick rotation towards the A site as well, and that's going to be what it ends up coming to. 30 seconds and Pretty on this jump spot. Have the rest of his team over in an instant.
Ty, co mám já, nebo Hyprex, Cloudy, nebo Xtenet. No stres, sluchátka jsou docela easy na výběr.
10 seconds discount the plant, Cairo.
Čas. Prosím. Ty debile. Proč nejde zabít Plentra? ALEXIIK musí všechno dělat sám. Wallbang. Vyfulte to. Nice. Spolu. Nice.
Brings it far too close. Grumek pushes it over the line, and it will be
this wall. Yeah, it's curious. A missed wall, most likely. The Armageddon coming in, fully blind, trading places. Karu, 2 kills with only the stinger. And BONK
On se flashne sám, ty vole.
Grumek has been caught towards
To
stairs.
neviděl, ty píčo, takovýho stupce.
And he will win the duel as well.
Yeah, it's another round where we go
back. Zapomněl, kde má daný flash, flashl se sám.
Who could possibly have seen this one coming? It's Chazza leading the line as the duelists are going
Vašek musí
band for band, it feels like. ALEXIIK's got to dig his way out of trouble.
Co tady hrajeme se za hru, kámo, nekonečnou, já se pojebem. Pojebem sám, pojebem.
Watched much of Lord of the Rings, Hazza?
I've seen The Hobbit though, so and I've read the book as well.
Řekne, že on dostal flash na sajtu jako první smrt. Kamaráde.
ALEXIIK no TP, fully committed. Best foot forward.
Ještě Alečku. Ještě.
They kill him here, or maybe they don't. You still have to find Pyro, and he's so disciplined to wait his turn. Corsa the one that he ends up on. No, it's Chazza instead. The second maybe, just maybe. But so it's 3v2.
Alečku, nevím, jestli 2 budou stačit, kámo. Musí dát 4, podle mě.
That's the big thing. And on top of that, right, you're looking at the utility to come back in on. There's still stuff to work with for Zero Tenacity, but the numbers
já normálně blouzním, kamaráde.
And a huge double up and a hold of the smoke from stairs.
Mu dá ten duel prostě, proč mu dá ten duel? Proč?
Open up the threat, the possibility of angles of which they could begin to reprise their role in this retake now. Stun in the hands of Grumek. Players to catch would have been pretty, but it's not a pretty sight at all. He just jumps straight out. The next Nebula drops. Grumek to find the kill. Bouncing around the corner. You got to get on towards the spike. There simply isn't time. And YASIEK has walked around a ring of rosy. BONK will get the round that we expect them to. But Zero Tenacity had a much better chance. A round which sets up BONK to win the map.
I agree. And maybe this is why we're seeing like the
jsem rád, že ALEXIIK na setu kam hitou, aspoň to mě docela uklidňuje, vole.
Cost them getting higher places in other regions.
Kámo, ten má takovou formu, vole. Ten má přes 50% hesel, ty pičo, fakt, to jsou insta-tapy.
Just on the elevation to not expect a peek over the top of the vice wall. Lockdown's gonna come in here from Corsa. And so with that set
ALEXIIK wallbangující.
You have the salvos on waddles. There's no safe way to play on site. You go for the corner, you're gonna get.
Dobrá ultina, Alečku, dobrá ultina. Info o všech, kámo, o všech víme. Víme úplně o každém.
This is where you then want the stun and the salvos. This is where your combo should be ready to retake C.
Kurva. Nice. Dobrý stun.
And will the rest of it is no, not to be the case. I mean,
dobrý aftershock.
Ultimates invested, utility elsewhere. It's working out the better, but YASIEK
has
dropped the cosmic divide. And a 1 versus 5 gets the first, can't quite get the
Nemá
second.
životy.
He's brought down to what is 20 points of health, and you're always going to favour Zero Tenacity in that fight. Although. Spike drops. I don't think anybody was in audible range of that at all.
No.
Which is lucky for Zero Tenacity because there is a player's pushed really far up here.
And like, look, they have really strong positions right now. There's absolutely no reason for them
ALEXIIK
to,
open.
You know, change it up much. ALEXIIK just takes his timing as the B guy, and now finally BONK react.
Yeah, they're trying to react. There's a little bit of stall coming through from their own utility, from the utility of Zero Tenacity, and this is just buying time for players to get into spot. 20 seconds remaining. This spike needs to go down.
It just felt like they were waiting for something to happen. Finally, with the onus on them, it's the C site they elect for. Zero Tenacity will take more time in the retake. Where is ALEXIIIK going? He's the first player out, straight into the crosshairs. Karo takes him down, and now we're at an even man count. Proti restores it, and that's what they needed. The Rolling Thunder invested as it comes up online, tees up MSH, and into the site they go. Wardle's playing deep with the util for support, but now it's all on him to save the round and save Bonk again. He's walking up. It's a long road through enemy lines. Zero Tenacity,
ALEXIIIK prostě jak to kámo běhá, vole, že tam nekouká
finally Bonk grouping for this B execute.
No přesně schválně, aby nebyli vidět, že jo.
Here we go, Pyro.
You can hear the hurt.
Yeah, můžeme zeptat potom.
Doing really well here. I don't know how ALEXIIIK's got that one, but they've got 2 players left to deal with.
Nice. A nevypadlo to jako fake one, kámo, nebo chápejte, píčovina by dělal fake one.
And series point as we have finally reached it. Here. Yeah. Right, let's speak about to this A side of the map, but instead the players are actually dropping back.
Yeah, they're just happy to give up all of this room. It's you and me. They have upper control that's been given to them by the Cosmic Divide. Has his ult from behind it, and that's Pyro gone. Key utility missing into the retake, still there waiting for ALEXIIIK to arrive.
Dobrý kombo, nástroj.
To je škoda. Is able to escape and Chaz at the same time. Gets rid of ALEXIIIK, who was on the flag. Preti's rifle firing off blanks, and it seems as if so was the last remaining player of Yassiek's rifle. Now they're just going to start to hunt down this last remaining player of Quebec. They want rid of him.
I mean, Bonk have to be careful here, Cairo. They don't have all too much money. I mean, look, not a single player with more than 1,000 credits.
Jestli ten mož flashne na tom Bčku sám, tak budou fakt nasraný. To je halus, Barte, to je pokaždý s Alešem. Takhle dlouhý hry, kámo.
But yeah, but that kill from Karu is absolutely everything though, because Zero Tenacity are forced with a decision to make, to head for the hills, to make the re-clear. The possibility they give up a free C site. Instead, it's A, where they'll find themselves short-handed.
Yeah, well, the 2 players towards this side need to be able to hold
Pyro
on.
Pyro,
he's put on the hot seat. Blast pack in, the players spamming through, but the timing's taken. Spike denied, and Pyro being able to survive for a bit longer. Look at the time, 25 seconds, and well, the spike will just go down.
Half of that time on this spike counter will be eaten up before the salvos can come back out for Grumek. Zero Tenacity, for all intents and purposes, left to their own devices. No utility left in the belt, but MSH has the Vandal in his hands. Almost everybody's low. Corsa Karu within range, striking distance for Proti, but he's run out of bullets. It's chaos again. And so Waddles will evade with the salvos that he has. Bonk with the best that this region has to offer. A top 6 team on paper. But now it's about taking yourself that next step further, and Chaz against ALEXIIIK is the one to put them in that position.
54. open Aleška mimochodem. Dělám si prdel. 24 kol.
Yeah. Again, we've highlighted about the lost utility.
Tun, tak late.
Now Tun Sahur. How do they pivot, right? If they go towards the C side with that deep alarm bot, it's going to be so easy for Bonk to rotate towards C.
Defaultní TP, kámo, úplně. A proti každý jeden je runáčko.
You have this full setup here from Bonk.
Málo
koukáš, I like the deposit of Grumek towards A.
Yeah, it's this late press of the door switch and tree.
Ale solo. No.
Just slowly started
Jak v mainu měl ještě breache, ne? Se stunem, jak píše Patagos.
Still gonna be here, ready to batten down the hatches of the C site. 4 players in front of it, or 3 players in front of him, has the support of JASIEK, who goes traded.
Prosím.
Spike plant coming in, 20 seconds left to spare. 3 on 3, but a long rotation, and Zero Tenacity players ready to cut off that life support.
Má huge info ten Pyrol, huge info. On usnul, vole. Proti. Ty vole, prdi vole, ty kurvo jedna. Má stůl na tap. Proč to vyhazují jen tak? Vy na to, že hrajou 20 let, tak kámo, někdy mě překvapí, jak hrajou. Nice. Já si myslím, že ta úroveň toho tier 2 šla tak extrémně dolů, že bych mohl hrát úplně v klidu.
Trigger that wall, so ALEXIIIK can just walk up. This should be 2 clean targets. First of them, JASIEK playing from around the corner, flashing back in, getting nothing.
A Van 0 a 0 jsou tier 2 hráči.
But where is JASIEK off to? Zero Tenacity have them boxed. They're going B, but they are so ready for this.
The time's so low and the Arcro's given information. Spike held, but again, solo peak after solo peak. It's punishing both teams.
Pyro's in behind, and the turret, I don't know if he just broke
it.
You see the reaction from BONK. They're starting to take the Hobbit space back. Waddle's huge duel that he's able to take on the chin. Turned away at the right time. grummik played in against Karu.
Pyro with the only bit
Dobrá paranoja.
of utility
To je škoda. Kurva. Už.
My desk.
Je to víceméně investice, to je kdybys... Investuješ prostě čas a doufám, že se ti vrátí za to možnost. To není, že můžu ti říct, že ani jeden hráč v Evropě si neřekne, že hraje tier 2, aby hrál tier 2. Pokud neplánuje kvitnout, to jenom to ne paycheck stealuje, ale to je těžký, jakože paycheck stealovat takovou částku.
Still had the drone when he died, but he has actually just dry swung the op, so BONK are now 5 versus 3.
The thing that I loved about this round in particular as well is that Zero
to je hlavní důvod, proč jeden z důvodů, proč nehraju.
Here we go, 20 seconds that could change it all. You know how much difference individuals can make. This is challengers after all. You're here to play your trade on that push for the top.
Nice, Prdi, počkej. Prdi má názor.
Towards waterfall, and under the pressure, Corsa will crumble. Pyro by his side, and we're at an even standing. In fact,
samozřejmě cením všechny, co hrajou, kámo, 3v5. 3v5?
They're out of options. It's got to be
what?
30 seconds to make the execution. With ALEXIIIK creeping in and the rest of Zero Tenacity here. Last chance saloon for BONK.
Prdi vole, do smouku, pojď ještě spoustu! ALEXIIIK! Prdi! A ukončí to prdi. Dostal flash od svýho. On dostane raketu, jestli dá kill, kamo. Nedávejte mu kill, prosím. Oni ví, že nesmí umřít, tam někdo kolnul, že dostane raketu.
Accidentally buying space, the players jump out. Easy! We'll see it. Zero Tenacity will survive the elimination match.
Prdi, kamaráde, absolutní borec.
Survive is the best way to say it, because BONK